you all spoke about transition, so and other countries being further ahead in this transition. So I was wondering, is there a time frame for when this transition will be complete, and is there, I guess, something or that people in the community, such as myself, can do to help with the transition?
Okay, I think so. We know from the ministry that there hasn't been a clear direction as to when it's going to happen, when the workshop's going to shut down. I think most agencies are working. It's on an agency by agency basis. But so for corporate, we are hoping to slowly transition by the end of the fiscal year. And what that means for us is that we're working individually with every person who's in the workshop to come up with opportunities within the sector, whether it be recreational, life skills, employment, whatever they're looking for. We're trying to offer those services to individuals. So that's our self-imposed deadline. I'm not sure if we're going to be successful in achieving it. In terms of what people in the community can do to help, I think if you're an employer, open the doors, raising awareness around the impact, regarding the value folks with disabilities bring to the workforce, diversity that it creates. I think those are some of the key things that I would really encourage people to do and speak on our behalf.
So it is true, we haven't put a time frame on, and that's really on purpose, because it's two things. It's first and foremost one person at a time when the agencies, and it's going to be one agency and one community at a time. And so, different agencies and different communities and different cultures across the province are just at different stages, and different opportunities around employment. So the minister thought it was really important for us not to put a time frame on, but to encourage agencies working with their families to actually think about it, and working with employment programs, and also recognizing that we have some work to do around employment programs for people with disabilities. So putting all of those elements together, there is not a time frame. And I think what can communities do? It really is around that awareness, because I think, and I have to admit, myself, you think, before I came into this job years ago, and recognizing that sheltered workshops they played a place in history, and they always will. And an important step, a really important step in history. When you think about moving from institutions, right? So they were really, really, really important, and they really are attached to many folks. But to really help folks understand that maybe isn't the best way for people to be included, and it may not meet their hopes and wishes and dreams around being a part of a community, and that it's important that people at bare minimum make a minimum wage. That's really a part of it, and that by being out there in the community, that really is what gets people independence and inclusion, and really allows us all to move forward. So that's, I think it is communities, it is employers, it's us all changing that, all of us, and I put me in that category as well as a person. It's about changing.
Thank you. Anyone else want to say anything to that question?
I was just going to say that we touched on employers, Deepak did, and I think that in order to get employers to open the door, there's an education process, and I think it's something that we as communities really need to work on. There's a lot of data out there that talks about the fact that people with a disability actually are a lot better employees when it comes to loyalty, when it comes to taking less sick days, when it comes to things like employee morale, when it comes to having less accidents on the job, and the list goes on. So I think that the smart employers that have opened the doors are already starting to realize that there's a huge return on investment of hiring people with a disability. And I think that that's where it starts, that when you start with a few employers, then it grows, because then you can work on creating employer champions. And there are many employer champions out there. I mean, I'm so fortunate to be from Sarnia. Many of you know Mayor Mike Bradley from Sarnia and his challenge to other mayors across not just Ontario now, but Canada, to hire people with a disability. 2 weeks ago, he was in Newfoundland. A number of mayors took up the challenge there. Last week, he was in Alberta. A number of mayors took up the challenge there. And we've been very fortunate that we've been able to see that some of these employers that, you know, in a lot of it, there is a role to be played by service providers, because we need to make sure job match and job fit is everything. When we're assisting people with their career pathing to understand where their aptitudes are and their skills and abilities and desires, how those could turn into employment, it's really critical to make sure that we make good job matches. If we do that, those employers will come back to the hiring well again and again and again. I have employers that we work with in Sarnia, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, Tim Hortons, that have hired continuously. We can't give them enough people. Tim Hortons has hired 15 people from us in the last 2 years.
Thank
Can't
you.
give them enough people.
Thank you very much, Bob. I'm going to cut you off.
Sorry.
But you know,
It's really great stuff. Does anybody else on the panel want to say
I was
anything?
just gonna say, they've done a really great job in Sarnia, and it is about that community leadership, and you can see where it makes a huge difference.
I hear a big challenge to Toronto being thrown out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mayor Tory, come on now.